In this video, it's part one of videos that are going to demonstrate how to graph the equation of a line using point plotting. So for the first problem we're going to have a look at here, you're asked to graph 3x plus 2y equaling 12. Now, with point plotting methods, they do take a bit of time, but sometimes, if you kind of approach the problem, you see like how the coefficients relate with the number on the other side, how it can be rearranged. Sometimes that does assist you as far as what numbers to pick and so forth. And there's different things you can do. So for instance, I'm going to set up a table here, an XY table. All I really need are 2 points. Sometimes a third one's a good idea to make sure that I'm getting a straight line altogether and that all my other computations seem to be correct. But so I'm going to let x be -2, and if x is -2, I get 3 times -2 plus 2y equals 12, which means -6 plus 2y equals 12, which makes 2y equal to 19 and y equal to 9. And I can keep doing this, picking some other x's and finding y's. I can also pick y's and find out what x's are, which I'll show in other parts of this video. But I also picked an x value of 2, and so I put that into the equation in the place of x, which gives me 6 plus 2y equaling 12, which means that 2y equals 6. And dividing both sides by 2 gives me that y equals 3. So 2, 3 is another ordered pair. And, that's good enough to draw the lines. They often do show that they find a third point to make sure that they are all lining up in a linear pattern. So I'm going to choose one more x value, and I'm going to choose x to be 6. And so when I plug that into the equation in place of x, 3 times 6 plus 2y equals 12, which means 18 plus 2y equals 12. Subtracting 18 from both sides, I get 2y equal -6. And dividing both sides by 2 gives me y equals -3. Now I can see 2 points would make a straight line automatically. These look like they are lining up. So I just have to draw a line that goes through all of them. And there is my line. So for this next one, again, I have x minus y equaling 8. Again, I'm just going to pick some x values and find some y values. Or I could pick some y values and find some x values. But whatever the case may be, you want to get a table of at least, I'd say 3 values to make sure that the points that you eventually plot are all lining up. So as you can see here, here's the points that make this work. And you can see each one's plotted here. Here's 8, 0. Here's 6, -2. Here's 4, -4. Here's 2, -6. And here's 0, -8. So these are all points that I've plotted, that I've identified and plotted, and therefore the line would go through all those points. Now for this one, 2x minus 5y equaling 10, I do want to point out the fact that if you look at this, situations where you have the two coefficients, in this case 2 and -5, if they're factors of the right-hand side here, that often creates a lot of easily calculated values. As long as you're picking some of the right values and you're trying them out correctly, that usually works out nicely. When we get to situations where that's not always the case, that's where things get a little bit more complicated, which is why we will learn about other methods as we go along with this. So again, I just pick some x values and calculate y values, or I could do the same thing by picking some y values and calculating x values. But, basically by doing that kind of search, I come up with these values here because these are the x and y combinations that would make this equation true. Like for instance, -5 is -10. -5 times -4 is a +20. So I would have basically -10 plus 20, which does equal 10. And I could go down the line and keep checking all those to show that they do work. And you also see I plotted them. -5, -4, 0, -2, 5, 0, 10, 2. So you're working on both the plotting and the calculating to see what are considered to be solutions to these equations. And once I have these points all labeled, then and I can see they are forming a straight line pattern, I'm just going to draw the line that goes through all 4 of those points. But as I said, do you have to calculate 4? You can calculate that many. You can calculate more. You need at least 2 to draw a line, and along with that, you like to see at least 3 to make sure that they are all lining up and that you're not making a miscalculation somewhere along the way. A special circumstance that you're going to see, this is one of them at least, is when you have x equaling a number, like in this case x equals -4. When you see this kind of situation, the way that's easiest to remember this is basically saying, okay, x is going to be -4 regardless of what y is. So y could be anything it wants to be. X is going to be -4. As a matter of fact, y does not even matter in this equation. The only condition we have is that x has to equal -4. So if I was making a table, x would be -4, y could be any of these values. I just chose these at random, but y could be, like 2.79. It could be, -pi. It doesn't matter what those values are. The x value is going to be -4. And when you get that, it means that, if your x's are all the same but your y's can vary, you end up with a line that's vertically oriented. So x equaling a number is a vertical line. That's the end of this video. As always, if you have any further questions, please make sure to get in touch with me. Until next time, have a good day.